Now also the same document in para 2.4.8 gives preference to DPSUs and ordnance factories for their line of production. So which means if some item is being produced by, like even if it's a web belt, being produced by ordnance factory, they get preference over the MSMEs by the same document. So now let's switch to DPP, which is the Defense Procurement Procedure. It has some relevance because offset policy is a part of this. The current version is 2013 under revision. The case of offset, MSMEs have benefited a lot because offset, the loading is on the buyer, but the benefit accrue to third party. And the third party is the choice of the main vendor. What it means, if you buy something from a foreign vendor chooses Indian offset partners, and in that, if he finds that MSMEs can do the job, it's always advantageous to both. Now, having gone around while dealing with MSMEs for the last 3 years, I've noticed that many MSMEs have benefited a great deal by joining the offset bandwagon. And it means assured orders, it means upgradation of technology. And in the earlier offset policy, there was no special provision for MSMEs. So the problem which arose was handling many entities. Like if offset is say 300 million, and if MSME turnover is in some crores, you're required to engage with hundreds of entities to discharge your offset obligations. So stepped in some integrators who did the job of integrating offtake from many entities. And also in the latest version of DPP, actually it happened little before the latest version was issued. It happened in 2012 August. Offset policy was revised, and there is a provision for multiplier of 1.5 for items sourced from MSMEs. So this gives slight advantage. Now this is just an overview of the policy, and the main content for this session will come from the presenters. And as per the list given to me, it has to start with Shri Vivan Sharan, Foreign Advisory. Request you to make a presentation.
At the outset, I'd like to thank FISME for engaging with us. We are the knowledge partners for this event, and so it's incumbent upon us to aggregate all of the suggestions that we received today and synthesize them by way of a concise policy input to the Ministry of Defense. So my job is to essentially summarize what we have so far, which is very much just a baseline sort of policy assessment of the challenges for Indian MSMEs. And since we are not MSMEs ourselves, I think we would really benefit from a stakeholder perspective on this issue. So I'm just going to go over some of the issues that might be already known to you, but just by way of context setting. We already know the order of priorities in the 2013 DPP, with the first priority being to buy Indian, the second being to buy and make Indian, the third being to make Indian, the fourth being to buy and make with TOT, and lastly, buying global. So just a few stylistic trends. Ever since we had the first offset policy and until 2013, about $4 billion of offsets have flowed towards the Indian defense industry. With the current defense budget of around $40 billion and inked deals worth over $60 billion over the last decade, one could perhaps argue that there is much more should be forthcoming. 60% of the value of this offset obligation has been discharged, nearly 60% by the private sector over the same time period. therefore the private sector has an intrinsic role in defense production going forward. During the next 10 to 15 years, all experts suggest that India will need to replace major systems and spend perhaps a larger proportion of the defense budget on capital expenditure. And finally, it's estimated that around 13 million MSMEs operate in the Indian economic ecosystem today, which comprises of 95% of all industrial units and around 95% of all defense vendors. Therefore, the private sector and particularly MSMEs have a key part to play in the Indian defense story going forward. This is something that we are familiar with, of course. On the offset policy, just briefly, since this is on the anvil now, and we hope to make concrete suggestions towards the formulation of the new policy, we are all aware that the DRDO is to assist industry by having backward linkages for conducting R&D. The Department for Defense Production is in turn required to map prospective agencies. The DOMW is to take the lead in building industry linkages. But what we see is that there are close to 7,000 vendors that exist on the DOMW and DRDO ecosystem, and yet we have no consolidated list and little capacity. This is again something that doesn't come from us, but this is industry perspective. Across the board, we find that people say to us that DOMW does not have the requisite human capacity for facilitating the backward integration that is so necessary to enable greater MSME participation in the defense production sector. Therefore, in recognition of this capacity constraint, which is, of course, the government also realizes, we should closely study international best practices to be able to leverage institutions that can be created towards better backward integration. And in the paper that you have in your folders, you will also see this table. We did a small assessment of best practices in terms of institutions for backward linkages with MSMEs in UK, Singapore and USA. And what we found is that India is lagging far behind these standards. And this is a good starting point perhaps for the Defense Minister as he looks towards greater MSME participation. Some key points from this that can be seen very clearly. For instance, there is a dedicated procurement microsite for MSMEs in UK, Singapore, USA, which of course is not the case in India. There are step-by-step guides for MSMEs to participate in the defense industry in all of these three countries. That also needs to be developed in India. The US, in fact, is ahead of UK and Singapore in that it has a dedicated ombudsman for regulating or enhancing the scope of the regulatory interface with the MSMEs in the defense sector. And therefore, obviously, we have a great opportunity to look at these models, perhaps even collaborate with some of the nodal agencies and create something of our own. One of the major issues that you're all familiar with is the SQRs in terms of production. Every component of defense stores, from the smallest to the largest, are to be manufactured under these very complex, at times, SQRs. And these SQRs are in turn formulated from the ground up. The service headquarters or the lead service for procurement under the MAKE scheme are the first entities to sort of design these SQRs, and thereafter the integrated project management team, which consists of at least 8 different stakeholders, which is a lot of stakeholders, because in India everyone has a distinct opinion, subject the requirements to review. And one of the ways in which we can sort of make this process more transparent is to have consistent interface with industry on how these service quality requirements evolve in consonance with our larger objectives of national security. Some of the known limitations of MSMEs, and of course some of you would challenge these, but this is not the absolute truth necessarily. The first is licensing, which of course, as you're aware, is a concern that has been assuaged to some extent, given that in 2014, DIPP issued a notice stating that many of the production components, etc., that were under industrial licensing norms, which would act as a entry barrier of sorts, have been removed. How this has affected the MSME ecosystem is something that we can debate, because we need feedback from you. And of course, this is something that the Defence Minister mentioned, that we should be patient despite the cap being raised to 49% for FDIs. The latest figures tabled in Parliament show some 6 new FDI proposals worth 15 million, which is a very small sum given the larger defence needs of the country. And finally, the time issue that, of course, you're all too familiar with, which is the common refrain from the OEMs that MSMEs take to handhold MSMEs and make them reach the final stages of production as an onerous and complex task. And how do we need to figure out ways to get around this time constraint if MSME production is to take off in a meaningful way. Some of the opportunities that we highlight in the paper, and we'd like to build upon these or eliminate some of them depending on what feedback we get today, is on the FDI front. Perhaps India could invite foreign firms to establish full ownership and following the Indonesia model in the coal sector. I mean, this is just an example. We don't have to be rigid and follow that, but you know, in Indonesia, in the coal sector, you're allowed full ownership as a foreign entity, and then you have to slowly divest that ownership over a structured period of time. This is perhaps something that should be looked at in a more serious way, even as we evolve our policies towards a more liberal regime. Given the Make in India emphasis in both defense and in the larger Indian economy in general, this is perhaps the most appropriate time to review the successes and failures of government entities such as the DOMW, such as DRDO. Why don't we have a serious reality check on how they've facilitated backward integration with MSMEs and create new institutions or recalibrate these institutions to meet the needs of the day. And finally, transparency in terms of evolving service requirements and projected needs assessment for the Indian Armed Forces, for various components, etc., could be done through something that Manohar Parrikar ji himself suggested will come through in the new DPP, which is akin to investor facilitation cells, which have proliferated across states. All Department of Industries across most states have investor facilitation cells, which act as a nodal point for industry to interface with government. Perhaps something of this sort can be evolved for the MSMEs in particular going forward. And lastly, perhaps we need to be a little disruptive, think of some process innovations in the offset policy through which MSME participation can be catalyzed. Maybe multipliers of the sort that DRDO offsets are enabled by could be a way to go. We could perhaps think of multipliers for MSMEs that go far beyond the 1.5, 2.5, 3 times multipliers that currently apply to DRDO offsets. And these are just some suggestions, and then we hope to evolve through the course of this first half of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vivan. Most of what you stated about reforms and offset and role of MSMEs in defense procurement, I tend to agree with you. I think the new policy hopefully will have a look at this. Now I call upon Shri Deva Mohanty, and he's going to cover overview of the sector and role of MSMEs and a critique of the policy practices framework.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I start, I would like to thank the organizers, the Federation of Indian SMEs, and in particular to its president for inviting me to make my presentation. Now, it's basically, we have a theory called circulating elites and circulating ideas. So ideas, essentially, those ideas which have been circulating for the last 12 years we are debating those only, and there is nothing that I can add at the moment, but I can only refashion or redesign those major points and reiterate those which have already been given in the first session itself by the President's address, by the address of the Honorable Defence Minister, as well as by Dr. Saraswat. So what I will do is, I would basically like to look at where the MSME stands in the Indian defence sector, where it stands, what it stands for, and how it needs to be, how its potential needs to be harnessed. Everything is known, but we have a serious structural and data problem. Now you have too many data in the economy, general economy sector, but you have very too little data in defence sector to assume to assume a kind of a role that MSME needs to take forward. Just to sum up, I just would like to compare two phases of India's defence industrialization in order to understand how the MSME has done in the past and how it is likely to do in the future. Both are complex. When the global defence industry, essentially led by the Western industrialized countries, were trying to bring in private participation in their respective military industrial complex, India was going the other way. It was trying to make it all state controlled. And that's where the first problem lies. What happened was that, I mean, just to give you a little bit of background, in the last 65 years, we are not talking about the structural or the other policy level changes which have come in the last 8 to 10 years, but I'm talking about the last 50 odd years. Basically, the Indian military industrial complex, which has been excessively state controlled and state directed, has changed very little, despite all kinds of talks and all kinds of changes that have been put into the defence sector. I would like to be a little critic to put things in perspective. I'll give you one example that the DPP, as mentioned by the Honorable Chairman, it has already been revised 10 times in the last 13 years with one addendum. Now the problems have all remained the same. Rather, the problem have been compounded with induction of at least one multidisciplinary evaluating committee in every 3 DPP changes. So we are actually not simplifying things, we are actually complicating things. That's problem number 1. Problem number 2, when we are looking at revitalizing, or we are looking at trying to nurture a vibrant military industrial complex of which MSME plays a very, very critical role, the kind of policies that we adapt, like for example, the technology transfer policy, the offsets policy, conforming to IP regimes, conforming to international regimes like Wassenaar arrangements and all that, there are structural problems within the Indian Ministry of Defence to address those particular issues, and unless and until we address those issues, we are not going very far. So I'll take a pessimistic picture of that. Despite talks of private participation in defence sector, and I have been participating in dozens of such gatherings, in structural terms, the private sector has been kept outside the defence production ecosystem. Even though we have created a lot of changes into our various procedures, but the fact remains that, I mean, I'll just give you one example. Where is the representation of, and I'm talking about institutional representation of defence industry in general and MSME in particular in the structural, in the administrative mechanism of MOD? It's none. At the most, the MSME organization, the MSME federation, the confederations of other industries are periodically invited to give their inputs, but they are not structurally embedded into the system, unlike all the industrial countries who have structurally embedded those. So we have the first and foremost request that I would like to urge the federation is to make one major suggestion of participation in real terms in the institutional mechanism of the procurement and production processes of the country. That's the first thing. What else has not changed? There are, despite all the different inputs being given periodically by various institutions, very little has actually gone into the DPP. If you read the first DPP of 2000, second or third DPP, if I may, you read the DPP of 2002 and you read the DPP of 2013. You may find a lot of commonalities with very little changes. So what I hope, what the minister during his speech suggested about, that we have to change the mindset and we have to, the regulatory framework will follow. So we have to see what kind of regulatory framework and what kind of administrative mechanistic changes do come in the next DPP. So in that case, I would like to urge the federation like FISMI to give their suggestions. Now, having said all this, I mean, these are basically what I'm talking about, a disconnect between the industry and the government. Now, where the linkage lies. The linkage can only be through a very sustained effort from all the industries to press to the government, not act like a lobby or anything, but periodic representations must be made to the government to make those few structural changes which will come in a big way, and you will see the impact in the next few years' time once these things are made. So I have got 5 major considerations for the thing. One, that it has to be the MSME, be it MSME or be it private sector in general, needs to be handheld by the state. And that's a standard conventional wisdom being pursued by all the military industrial complexes in the world for the last hundreds of years. And we are not doing that. So that thing need to be put. How it needs to be handheld and in what pattern, there comes the structural changes which requires to be changed. The second one, as I mentioned, that the DPP is too complex a document. It needs huge amount of simplification. The third suggestion that I would like to make is that within the DPP, you know, issues like as mentioned by the previous speaker, issues like SME multipliers must be put into such a mechanism where it becomes a practice. It just should not be a mere word formulation in that particular DPP and ends there. It needs to be translated into practice. Then we have a very peculiar problem called interdepartmental problems. You have for licensing, you know, the different department deals with licensing. Different departments deal with regimes, basically the restrictive regimes policies. Because defense sector has got both strategic and non-strategic components, and the strategic components of the defense sector require a lot of harmonization with international regimes, in which, again, I do feel that MSMEs have a big role. Then, most importantly, I would like to press for a kind of a larger fund, and within that larger fund, it should be earmarked as a R&D fund. The MSME, by definition, are small. They are micro, small, and medium enterprises who do not have the financial patience and financial capability to enter into a sector which, by definition, requires patience. And by definition, it also much flows into uncertainty, because in a fast technological environment, if you put in a lot of money into your R&D, and by the time you come out with a product and that becomes almost obsolete or becomes, requires midlife changes and all that, how will the MSME sustain? So the government has to, in practice, the government has to create this kind of funds, and this is one of the handholding strategy which needs to be adopted by the government. And most importantly, the SMEs Now here is what I would refer to again to the Honorable Minister's statement. I hope he keeps up his word, that I am here to change mindsets. Now there is a lot of talk about the capability of MSME. Now if you look at it from a very loose kind of a manner, then you would see that where is the capability in Indian defense sector? Now you better test them. If you do not test the industry and you say that where is the capability, those are two different things. So let the government test the capability of the private sector and then come out with those kind of, and once that happens, that can only happen when the industrial, all the categories of industries, when they are structurally embedded into them. I would like to flag one point. Yes, I'd just like to flag one point. A question for all of you. The Indian defense industry, the Indian government has invited the private industry for private participation in defense sector. Now that should actually be embedded into the Department of Defense Production. I have not found a single representative from the private industry being a part of DPP. So I would end up by saying that another suggestion, that there should be a mechanism should be evolved where a representation from the different types of industries into the DPP becomes a standard practice or is embedded as a requirement for further growth. I would like to stop here, as Honorable Chairman has already warned me to stop, and I would like to take up any questions or thank you.
No, I am doing chairman's role of time management, so it's just that. But otherwise, thank you very much for very valuable suggestions. Quite a number of these are quite implementable. Gentlemen, I would like to draw your attention to one little fact, that the first session is on defense production policies and MSMEs, and the second technical session is on opportunities for MSMEs and defense. But what I've noticed, most of the speakers, they have chosen their topics in such a way that there will be slight amount of overlap. But the subject remains of interest, and even if there is slight overlap, it is for a larger cause. So I now call upon Ms. Neelu Khatri to cover how MSME should grow in India and expectations of global OEMs with MSMEs. And she is with a multinational, working with a multinational now, so I think she'll give the perspective from that.
Thank you so much. Good morning to all of you, and thank you so much, Fismi Alanji, for inviting me here. I think a couple of things that we need to understand. I'm quite aware that the audience sitting here, all of us are very, very intelligent on the policies being formed by the government. We know what the opportunity is. We have some capability of operating in this sector. It's not that any one of you is new here. With that kind of an understanding, the need of the hour for the MSME. I think let's understand 2 or 3 major reasons for the OEMs to be operating in India or wanting to work with you. The important thing here to understand is India is the market today. There is no way any of the global companies is going to ignore the market coming up. We may talk about dismay on the policies, the project plans taking huge amount of time, bureaucracy or whatever you need to, but you do see almost every global company expanding their footprints in India. From the time 6-7 years back, we had some of the liaison office for some of those companies. You've seen them changing over into subsidiary offices. You do see a big change happening there. The second portion is by policy, by the government, there has been kind of a focus on indigenous content, and third, of course, is the offset. So that becomes an opportunity for us, for the Indian companies, for the OEMs and the Indian companies, especially the MSMEs. What is it that takes the SME to become, maybe climb a level up? That's what I would focus on in the first 3 to 4 minutes, and maybe some of the expectations from the OEMs. I think the important part here is, I would put it in 3 buckets. One is each of the SMEs are doing something irrespective of the opportunity in the India market, which has emerged or has been, so-called brought to the national or international platform now. We have I have been a part of previously a big consulting organization and an Indian company. I've had a chance to go across various small companies, and I have been amazed. I would particularly want to mention a particular company in Bangalore, about a 3 crore turnover, and we had huge difficulty even finding where they were operating from. And when we entered in a small shack, he was actually making the rotor assembly of the ALH, HAL from HAL Bangalore. 20 people team, 15 people team, 2 or 3 crore turnover, and that's one of the most important piece of equipment in a helicopter in its flying operations. We're not talking about small structures, plastic stuff that is going on into the helicopters. We have that kind of capability. So I think it's very important that the SMEs know their strength and continue to develop on that. How do you see yourself evolving in the next 4 to 5 years? That's the kind of plan which we need to see. So know yourself is the first thing that I would concentrate upon. The second part, which all the companies, at least the global companies like ours, would see is discipline. How are we following the work structure? The thing that I have noticed is most of the SMEs are promoter-driven companies. It's a one-man show. There is a huge lack of governance there, or governance in your own offices. It could be 10-member team, it could be 50-member team, it could be 500-member team. It does not matter. It needs to start from the root. Simple things: bookkeeping, maintaining mails, history, keeping records of whatever is happening day to day, signatures, because you must understand that who handled that equipment or who packaged it at the time of the defect reports getting raised. Now those are really important things that we need to ingrain in ourselves, and these are the things which probably all the OEMs would be looking. Here is an opportunity. You have a skill set, you know how to progress. It doesn't go without revision. There are several management books that I've read about how do you break from that 100 to a billion and then 1 billion to 100 billion. That's one of the, this is my pitch we lacking. We've done about 5 crore. I'm today at 15, and I'm very, very proud of the fact that I'm at 15 and my order book would make me 18 or 20. This is not the time to think small. Don't be hesitant in getting your ambitions, getting your business plans ready. Get some of the private equities to invest. There has been a time I'm investing money into some of the SMEs, no matter how niche they've been. There have been a lot of problems in that. The SMEs would show a book of X amount to a business plan for about X. In many cases that we know in the last 24 months or even now going on smaller companies that are either being acquired or being infused with certain things to increase capabilities. Also means, how can I do it myself? How can I do it by improving myself? Getting your business plans crystal clear, yet not unrealistic. Everybody talks about coming in $20 billion offsets coming in, so therefore I will, I will get a piece of the pie. That's not the way to look at it. The way to look at it is, what am I doing today? To come to the second part of my talk, what are some of the OEMs like Honeywell or, I see a lot of friends sitting here, Airbus, British Aerospace, Boeing, etc. look at? I think market, and the third thing is the collaboration with the partners should be such that this partner adds value to our global supply chain. Nothing beyond that. Absolutely nothing beyond that. And we are very risk-averse people. We do not want, companies would want to take any kind of risk in these settlements. The important part is, how do you make yourself more aware? Be done. So coming back in my conclusion statements, know yourself, have faith, the opportunity is there, do what yourself, at least from the capability point of view, invest enough in the R&D, discipline. I think the discipline of doing work to take you to the next level is something we
Thank you very much, Neeru. She has given some very valuable tips from her personal experience and from consultancy and also from working in the corporate sector. So I'm sure you'll make good use of these. The next speaker is